Hello friends, so actually this is trigonometric identities 4. Actually I have made 3 previous videos on trigonometric identities, parts 1, 2 and 3 respectively, and you can check them out in my channel in the playlist section. You can directly go to the playlist section and there is a playlist trigonometric identities. So there are 3 videos in this playlist, and in those 3 videos I have covered a simple derivation of all the trigonometric identities except 2, and those 2, well, I discussed them but I did not derive them. So that's why, to complete this effort of deriving all trigonometric identities, so I just thought to add part 4, though I already though in some previous videos I might have told that part 3 would be the last part, but this is just an addition, okay, and it's gonna be really interesting, and I'll try to keep it as short as possible. This would not be long as the original parts. So I've already discussed that sine of minus x is minus sine x, but cos of minus x is just cos x, it's not minus cos x. Why? The derivations of this is also important. So I already told you, whenever you're dealing with trigonometry, the concept of unit circle is very important. It's really very important. So for instance, we have a unit circle here. Okay, sorry. Let me read once. Okay, so this is our unit circle. Okay, so basically this is the center of the circle and at the center of the origin, and we assume the radius to be 1. So let's draw two radii, okay, such that there is one condition: this angle is equal to this angle. Okay, well, now you should be knowing this because these are the basic things while you are dealing with angles. Okay, let me discuss it in short. There are many types of systems of measurement of angles. The most familiar one is degrees. In the degree system, this is called 90 degrees. Okay, right, this is called 90 degrees. But we also have a system called grade system. In that case, this same 90 degrees is called 100 grade. That means 90 degrees is equal to 100 grade. That's G, okay, in the superscript. And obviously we have the most important and most fundamental and the best system, which is radian. The radian concept basically, see, all these things, they are dependent on something. Here the fundamental basis is 90 degrees, here 100. Here the 90 degrees we are just expressing as something else. But the thing is that in radian concept it's much more simple and much more better. It's beautiful, the concept is. In that case, you just draw a circle here and you draw any radius like I have drawn here. Okay, so I can see this. Okay, I've already made a video on radians, you can check it out. So if this angle is 1 radian, if for this angle to be 1 radian, the length of this arc, okay, the length of this arc, which is the length of this arc, okay, suppose if this angle is theta, then the length will be theta by 360 into 2 pi r. Anyway, the length of this arc should in magnitude be equal to the length of 1 radian, or 1 radius of the circle. And see, this length, that is the length of the semicircle, which is pi r, it approximately equals, I mean not approximately, that's actually 3 radiuses plus something, approximately it's pi radiuses. 3.14 is pi, obviously we know that. And so that's why this is the basic thing. I'm showing you the basic formula which will help you when you're dealing with angle conversation. Here also there is one more thing. 1 degree, suppose if you want to make your measurement more accurate but keep it in degrees, then you have the concept of minute. This is how you write 1 minute. And even if you want to go further, unit seconds, that's just two slashes in the superscript. Alright, and so d by 2, this is the basic formula, sorry, d by 90 is equal to g by 100, where d is degrees, g is grade, and this is r is radians, 2r over pi. So if I give you any angle in degrees or in grades, you should be able to, or in radians, you should be able to convert them, right? This is the basic thing. And obviously you can easily derive this if you think of it. So I'm rubbing this because it's not the point of this video. Now the thing is that one more thing that you should be knowing, that's the main thing after all. If I measure this angle in the upward direction like this, then this is called plus, so the angle magnitude is theta, so this is called plus theta. But the same angle, if I measure it in the downward direction, this is negative theta, right? So say here, if I assume this angle to be theta or say x, then this will be negative x. Obvious. I mean, this angle here will be negative x and this angle here will just be x. Okay, now I already showed you that for a unit circle, let's choose this point here. The coordinates of this point will be something comma something, and that something comma something turns out to be cos theta comma sin theta. Why? Because if I just drop a perpendicular here, you see, in this triangle, right angle triangle that I have got here, what should be sin x? Sin x will be just this opposite side by the hypotenuse, but the hypotenuse is 1, so this will just be the opposite side. But this here, you see, it basically corresponds to the y coordinate, so that's why I'll have a sin x here. And similarly, cos x is this by this. or just this, because this by 1 is just this thing itself. So this you see corresponds to the x coordinate. So that's why we write cos x here. Cos x by sin x. Similarly, if you consider this point, this will be cos of minus x, because here the angle is minus x in this triangle. Okay, I'm just drawing this perpendicular. You can also draw a perpendicular in the similar way. Cos of minus x comma sin of minus x. Okay, that's the coordinates of this point. So now the point is that one more thing. See, we have come till here. That's all right. Now if I also write this in this form, a comma b, okay, in this form. So you see, one more thing is also obvious, that these two angles are equal in magnitude. And you see, if a comma b, but even in this case the x coordinate is not changing. That is the thing you should understand. See, for this point the x coordinate is this and the y coordinate is this. So x coordinate is this, right? And for this point also, let us be point A and this is point B. For A, this is the x coordinate. Even for B also, the x coordinate remain the same. But for B, the y coordinate is, let's assume this is, say anything, say y. So this will be minus y. Because see, these two angles are same. So this length must be the same. But as it is below the, as it is lies in this area, the fourth quadrant. So the y coordinate will be negative. So this is minus y basically. So see, only the y is changing, the x coordinate is remaining the same. That's the main thing. And once we understand this, so if the x coordinate of these things remaining the same, suppose this is a and b, and this will just be a comma minus b, because the y coordinates become negative. So a and a must be same. That means cos x and cos of minus x must be same. That's a very good intuitive explanation. That means cos of minus x must be cos of x itself. That's a simple derivation. And as for the sin x, obviously, in this case b, and here we have minus b. So we have sin x in this case, and anyway we have sin of negative x here. So see, this is b here and this is minus b here, right? So obviously from here you can say that sin of negative x is not sin x, it is negative sin of x. Because you see, basically, even if it's not clear to you even now, let me explain you. This is just x comma y, right? And this is just x comma minus y. And this can also be written as, cos x. These x are not the same here, I just mean the x coordinate, comma sin x. And this can also be written as cos of minus x, comma sin of minus x. Right. So here we have a minus y. So the meaning of this is that here minus y is corresponding to sin of minus x. Now y is itself sin x. Here we have assumed. So y is sin x. But here we have minus y, and this is the same as this thing. This is corresponding to this. That means sin of minus x is gonna be minus y. Now y is itself sin x. So this should be minus sin x and not just sin x. That's what I was trying to say. That's all. Okay, now once we have come to it, it's really easy to derive the same thing for other identities. Tan of, let's say, minus x is gonna be sin of minus x over cos of minus x, which will just be minus sin x over cos x. So this will ultimately be negative sin x over cos x, but sin x over cos x is just tan x, so minus tan x. So tan of minus x is also minus tan x. Similarly, if you do cot of minus x, it's obvious that it will also come out to be minus cot x, because we will have a sign here anyway. Still I'm showing you. This is just cos of minus x. So the numerator is just cos x, but in denominator we have a negative sign. This is just negative sin x. So ultimately it will be negative cos x over sin x. But this thing in the bracket is cot x, so this will be negative cot x. Right? Obvious? And if you consider sec x, sec of minus x, this is just 1 by cos of minus x, which is just 1 by cos x. Cos of minus x is just cos x. Now 1 by cos x is again sec x. That means sec of minus x is sec x. Right? And if we consider finally cosec of minus x, this is obviously the answer is always minus cosec x. This will be 1 by sin of minus x, which is 1 by minus sin x, which is minus 1 by sin x. 1 by sin x is just cosec x, so this should be just minus cosec x. Right? So we have only two exceptions, only in case of cos x and its reciprocal, which is just sec x. Only in those two cases, even if you have a minus something, our answer will just remain positive, just remain as it is. In all the other cases, sin of minus x, tan of minus x, whatever, it will just give us minus sin x or minus tan x respectively. So yeah, just for a quick recap, that's all we have derived in this video. And in the description I'm adding the link of the previous 3 videos, so you should please check them out. in those videos I do not take much time. It's approximately in you can count it all the 4 videos in 40 to 45 minutes, maximum 1 hour, and they will give you a really good understanding of the trigonometric identities, really good understanding of all the trigonometric identities and the derivation. Also the derivations are very important. Once you know the derivation, only then you can move on to solving some problems, and you see it's really interesting. And once you get that interest, once you get that passion for the subject, everything is enjoyable, nothing is hard. So that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the videos. Thank you very much.